Hello and welcome back to the channel. Quick video for you today because I find myself in a position to talk about something that I am not particularly qualified to talk about. As you are probably aware, if you're watching my channel, I make videos. I'm not a photographer. I've done a little photography in my spare time. So what we're going to talk about today, as you can tell from the title down below, I can talk about from a video-centric point of view and maybe a little bit from a photography point of view, but primarily it'll be video. So today, I have this box in front of me from Lens Rentals. We're going to be taking a look at the new Sony 20mm FE lens, the f1.8 lens. Now, as I did mention there, I have this from Lens Rentals, meaning that I don't have the official retail packaging or anything, but still, I just wanted to see how this lens worked, and Sony's PR team kindly offered to send it out by way of Lens Rentals, so thanks for that. Got all the return materials here, I'll use that later. But then inside of the package here, we have this nice little Lens Rentals lens holder. Inside of that is the lens. That was a heavy-duty little case there. So here is the Sony FE 1.8 20mm G lens. It does come with the lens hood on it, which of course you can flip out. It's a tulip style lens hood. Lens cap off. Lens looks nice and clean. 67mm filter thread. Closest focusing distance there of 0.19 meters or 0.63 feet. Just taking a look around the lens, we have the focusing knob here, the autofocus hold button, autofocus and manual focus switch, the aperture ring, which as you can probably hear does click. But then if you flip over to the other side, there is actually a click switch, so you can de-click that. Very nice for video making. Although I don't think that I've had a situation, again, not a professional filmmaker, just a hobbyist, haven't had a situation where I felt the need to change the aperture while I'm filming, but I know there are a lot of people that would probably have to. And of course there's all kinds of specifications on the lens: compact high resolution 20mm f1.8 prime, ultra wide 20mm perspectives, XD linear motors maximize autofocus speed, precision, and tracking, excellent close-up performance even for selfies. That's where I would kind of come in. Smooth operation, high reliability, there's that layout and everything, lens configuration, all the controls we just went over. But realistically, I just thought because I've got this for another day that I would pop it on this camera here. I'm using the Sony a6600. Again, this is an FE lens. It is designed for full frame cameras. I don't have a Sony full frame camera, so the best that I can do is replace the lens I'm using right now. That is a 16mm Sigma f1.4, currently at 1.4, which means we've got a nice shallow depth of field in this room. Even though it is a very wide angle, I can replace it with this and probably zoom in a little bit and it'll go to f1.8. So why don't we just go ahead and do that? And there you go. Without changing any other settings, we are now on the 20mm f1.8 lens. You can see I still have a very nice shallow depth of field. It is a little bit tighter, which I kind of like because there's all this stuff over here. You can see like my other desk and stuff that you can't see in a 20mm frame, but I didn't change any other settings, so the video might look a little bit darker, but we are at ISO 100, 1/50th of a second because I'm at 4K 24 frames a second, and f1.8, where on the Sigma lens we were at f1.4. Just looking at it in the monitor I've got over here, looks very sharp, looks just as sharp as it was on the Sigma. Of course, the depth of field looks just as shallow, but it's very hard for me to tell without putting them side by side. And of course, the autofocus should be very, very quick. There we go. Took just a second because it's trying to do eye detect autofocus, and you basically have to like block it out because this is not the Sony ZV-1 or anything. And the autofocus is very quick and responsive. That's a combination of the 6600 as well as the new Sony lens. I wonder how close I can get with this and have it still autofocus. So I'm practically touching it and it's not being able to do it. There we go. I'm probably, I don't know, 4 inches away. I should probably just grab a tape measure. Very convenient. Pop the lens hood off there. I just had it on because it was on the lens. So yes, 4 inches, just measured it right here. 4 inches is as close as I was able to get it to focus. It's not a macro lens, so I wouldn't expect it to go any closer than that. And again, 4 inches, very clear, very sharp video. Here's a quick handheld vlogging test using that 20mm lens. I'm just quickly going to walk around my office. We'll see how it does. I don't have anything set to auto, so it's not going to adjust to the lighting. I probably should at least do auto ISO, right? There we go. Now it should adjust a little bit more, and it should keep up with the autofocus a little better because it's not getting too dark. But I've heard a lot of people say that 20mm on an APS-C camera is not going to be quite wide enough. This looks wide enough for me, and again, we're at f1.8, which means that we will have a bit of a shallow depth of field. It is a little tight, but it's not that bad. I mean, especially if I put it on a GorillaPod or a tripod of any shape or size, this would make it even easier, but I'm just actually holding it by the lens at the moment. does not have any stabilization built in. So I'm gonna go ahead and apologize for how shaky this footage probably is. I just checked and I do actually have Steady Shot turned on in the A6600, so there is going to be a little bit of dampening of that, but it's not going to be enough to make a significant difference for this type of walking around vlogging. Anyway, moving on. All right, a little outdoor footage test. Luckily, I do have a 67mm adjustable ND filter, so I can brighten or darken the image as needed, so that I can stay at the right shutter speed and aperture and everything. You enjoying your time outside with the kids? Alright, so time to go ahead and wrap this up. As you probably have seen by now, I went outside, spent a little bit of time with the family. I did take some of these photos, which you can see here, of the kids and my wife, and a bunch of my wife's roses around the house, a nice landscape photo, and some videos and quick shots of the kids playing soccer in the backyard. So what's my initial impression of this lens? Excellent. Tack sharp photos. Again, not a photographer, so for me to be getting sharp photos out of it means that I'm doing something right, or the lens is doing something right. It's more likely the lens. Video looked great out of it, with the one notable exception of just not having stabilization built into it. So either put it on a gimbal if you need very stable shots, or set it on a tripod. The build quality feels sturdy, which leaves one last thing, the price. So this is $8.99 over on their website. I'm sure there will be sales and deals from here and there, but that seems pretty reasonable if you're looking for a pretty wide angle prime lens. Realistically, I bought the 16mm Sigma f1.4. Gives me a little bit of extra wiggle room in terms of the depth of field, and I think it was probably about half that price, but it's not quite as cropped in as this. And again, this is kind of targeted at the full frame market, whereas I think the Sigma might only be targeted at APS-C. I can't remember offhand, and that's not what this video is about. So either way, I do definitely like this lens. I definitely appreciate Sony's PR for sending this out for me to take a look at. I'll put links to where you can find it down below. I wish that I had taken a little bit more time with it earlier on, because again, I've had this here for probably a week or two, and unfortunately I've just run out of time with it. So I guess let me know what you think of it down in the comment section below. Would you be interested in picking one of these up for yourself? I'll have affiliate links to where you can pick one up if you have a Sony camera and you're in the market for something like this. But thanks as always for watching. Hit that thumbs up button if you like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you want to get notified when new ones come out. Ring the notification bell that'll be down there. You can see in the little video sample if you want to actually get notified when my new videos come out. And I'll see you again next time. Bye guys.